Welcome back to the Budget Gamer channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at Rage in Peace. Rage in Peace is a bit of a story-themed platformer that is not unlike I Wanna Be the Guy. If you have played I Wanna Be the Guy or any other sort of platformer with touch-based death mechanics and surprise traps and pitfalls any way you turn, you're gonna already know pretty much how to play this one. However, unlike the typical speedrunner wet dream, this game actually is story-based. And that overall story being that today is the day the main character in the game knows he's gonna die. However, despite the fact that he knows that he's going to be beheaded at some point during the day, the main character has let the Grim Reaper know that his one and only life's dream was to die in peace at home in his PJs. So being a bit of a chill guy, the Reaper has allowed our main character to fight his path back to his home in order to die the death of his choosing. However, being allowed to select his own time of demise has kind of angered death itself. And as such, our main character's entire world is being turned into one living nightmare. Eventually making his way out of his office building and through 5 different worlds with 5 different boss battles, our main character will hopefully find his pleasant end, but along the way he'll uncover a little bit more about himself. As the overall story unfolds, as you collect mementos throughout your gameplay, and through slight story scenes at the end of each chapter, instead of really discovering why this entire situation is happening, we learn more and more about how our character got to this point. More about his life and his passions and how he became a humdrum 27-year-old office worker. Though rushing headlong into traps that can generally only be found by springing them on yourself, and through the death gauntlet levels that require as much skill as it does memory, uncovering these minor bits of story may actually take you quite a while. And this is where I think the first big conflict within the game lies, is between the actual type of gameplay style and the story elements themselves. The story itself is incredibly rich and engrossing, and the musical elements that accompany the story are well above what you would expect for a cheaper indie game. Overall, they create, along with the visuals, an engrossing and impactful experience for the player. However, this experience is worlds apart from the actual gameplay. Charging headlong into traps, dying over and over, and trying to use as much of your skills as your memory to get yourself to the end of the level requires a bit of a darn the torpedoes speedrunner kind of mentality. And that's probably a bit of a division between the personalities of the gamers who would really enjoy the story. And needless to say, the further you make it into this game, the harder the traps are going to be to avoid, and the more of your memory and dexterity it's going to take to get past them. And in certain areas, it may seem like the game itself is actively trying to troll you, allowing you to see certain traps only to have them react to your playing in totally different ways. However, the developers did accommodate both gameplay styles by allowing you a mode of gameplay which removes the overarching story elements from the game entirely. This would be, of course, the speedrun mode, which is not to be confused with the pilgrimage mode. The pilgrimage mode being probably impossible, as it requires you to beat the entire game without dying once. Playing through on story mode, however, you can most likely make it through all 5 chapters in about 2.5 to 3 hours. But overall, my biggest critique, or maybe just a question, would be in regards to the boss fights. Boss fights in the game, however, aren't really much of fights as soon as you've encountered them once. Because the game is fully scripted with absolutely no randomization, every single boss attack pattern is completely identical, meaning that after you challenge them once or twice, it's merely counting seconds to dodge a certain attack, or moving from left to right in a prearranged pattern. And this lack of randomization, which does actually remove all of the challenge from the boss fight, does make me question why there are boss fights to begin with, but they are entertaining in their own right. Overall, I'd have to say that Rage in Peace is a pretty solid platformer game if you're the type of gamer who is into those I Wanna Be the Guy type speedrunner games. The music and the story is definitely engrossing enough to make a player want to keep playing to figure out what exactly is going on, but the gameplay, especially as you get into the later game, where it seems to troll you a little bit, might make you actually rage out. Well, that about wraps up the review of Rage in Peace on the Nintendo eShop. So if you enjoyed the review or found it helpful, feel free to throw me a comment or a like to show your support. And don't forget to click that little bell icon when you subscribe to stay updated with the latest content. There are new and unique indies coming out almost every day, so there's always going to be something new to find right here. And if you really enjoy the content, feel free to check out our Twitter or support us on Patreon. But anyway, this has been Budget Gamer, so as always, thanks for watching.